So Matt, you live in a shared situation with other CIIS students, and you've been in the Bay Area for a couple of years now, right?
6 years.
6 years. So, when you first came to the Bay Area, what was your housing? How did you go about finding housing, and what kind of things you were looking at, and what did you consider?
Well, I got lucky. My dad had an old college roommate that lived out in Walnut Creek. So my first visit to the Bay Area was for a week and a half, the summer before I started in 2008. So I got to look around and explore different neighborhoods and get a feel for the Bay Area. I ended up living in a small studio in Oakland near Lake Merritt, underneath someone's house, a private residence, which the price was very good. It was $750 at that time per month, which included all utilities and internet.
Yep.
And I lived there for a whole year, and I got a lot of studying done, but I was lonely. So the next year I decided not to stay there and moved into the city and sort of fell into a communal living situation with other CIIS students.
Because you already knew them in the course.
Because I knew them, and a room opened up in a house that they had already had.
So your rent went up, and but I guess that's great to hear for students who are looking for, like a more communal situation.
Right.
So, and maybe it's a bit difficult to advise them at this point because, you have to get to know people, and that takes time. So how would you, if you were speaking to someone in your shoes, how would you kind of advise them?
There are always new students coming into the school every semester, and the student listserv is a good place to meet those other students because they're all going to be looking for housing. And it's a bit of a gamble because you don't know if you're going to get along with them yet. But you're never alone when you're moving to the city to start at CIIS.
Yeah.
There's dozens of other students doing the same thing at the same time. So there's a CIIS listserv that would help connect you with other people in your situation so that you can look together to find a co-housing situation. Once you sign a lease, you're tied into a place for a year usually, and if there are interpersonal issues and friction that comes up, that can be an opportunity for growth or for misery. So it's good to be able to meet the people that you're going to be living with so that your home is a comfortable place to be. Certainly living in the city is more expensive on the peninsula, but the convenience factor is possibly worth it. I've lived in several places in the city over the last 6 years where I could walk to school, which is really nice. The East Bay is cheaper, but you're going to have transportation costs.
Tell us about how do you get to the East Bay to CIIS?
So the BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit System, runs through the East Bay. It goes across the bay and then north and south down to Fremont in the south and Richmond in the north, and then it goes out to Dublin, Pleasanton, and past Walnut Creek. So there's, I think, 4 different lines that run sort of like veins through the East Bay. So it's pretty accessible. There are some neighborhoods where you probably would have trouble walking to the BART station.
But the average commute time from the East Bay to CIIS is about 40 minutes?
If you're in the Berkeley, Oakland area, it's about 40 minutes, maybe a little bit more if it's rush hour.
Cool.
They have more trains running, but they're packed and you can't always get on. So, it's about a 40-minute commute. I live with 5 other people, 2 couples, and we were friends. We knew each other for several years, and we're all in the program here at CIIS together. before we moved in together. And, people warned us, like, you're friends, and if you move in together, you might ruin a friendship, So we all went into it aware of that potential pitfall, and just promised to each other that, we were going to use it as an opportunity to grow and to receive reflections from other people, because, your home is a place where you want to be comfortable. You want to feel like you can relax and be yourself. And, knowing the people you're going to move in with is great. Being really good friends with them is even better. As long as you're willing to grow and be seen by them and receive reflections about things that you do that might annoy them. And so what we do is have, maybe not every week, but at least every 2 weeks we have a house meeting. We have a Facebook page where we can all share issues that come up throughout the course of those 2 weeks that we can discuss in the house meeting. But we also make sure that we don't just wait if an issue comes up to air it in that few-hour session every 2 weeks. We try to communicate in real time with one another, and we found that that's so important to avoid a sort of explosion after the 2 week period at the meeting. And another important thing is just eating together, making meals together. What really made me lonely in my studio was that, if I cooked something for myself, it was just, I just felt isolated, and, getting takeout would be even worse. And what really holds the house together is the kitchen and cooking shared meals together. I found that to be the best way to sort of massage any tensions and just make sure that we're all on the same page together. And we all recognize one another's inner processes and emotional dynamics. And it's just a way to connect. We all need to eat, and we all like good food, so it works out.
Were there any differences that couldn't be reconciled? And how did you, like, if you find somebody who you really, like, it's a veto thing, how would you deal with that?
Well, luckily nothing like that has come up in our house yet, but, I can see a very difficult situation being, if there's a consensus among the majority of the people in the house that there's one person that's just, whether it's coming home late or bringing people over that are too loud and leaving a mess, or any number of things like that, where it's just a veto, like this can't happen, and that person's not responding in a productive way to everyone's requests to change that behavior, then there's a difficult issue that they might be on the lease, so there's this legal binding agreement, but I think you can still probably talk to the landlord and work out some sort of a sublet situation if everyone agrees that this person needs to leave. I don't know if it's ever going to be easy or if there's a good way to go about it. I'm sure that the person being asked to leave is not going to be happy.
Right.
But, these are important things, like establishing boundaries that are important if you want to feel comfortable in your home.
Yeah. So. Great. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, no problem.